Hello. Today is Wednesday, January 22nd. Welcome to episode 404 of Fault Lines, the National Security Institute's podcast that gets you quickly up to speed 3 times a week on the national security and foreign policy debates shaking up America. I'm NSI Deputy Executive Director Martha Miller. I'm joined today by NSI Advisory Board Member Lester Munson and NSI Fellow Jessica Jones. TikTok is once again the center of a heated national debate. Over 170 million Americans use the app, but its Chinese ownership has sparked bipartisan concerns about data privacy and national security. Last year, Congress passed bipartisan legislation requiring TikTok to divest from its parent company, ByteDance, or face a nationwide ban, a law recently upheld by the Supreme Court. In a surprising move, President Trump, on his first day back in office, issued an executive order pausing enforcement of the ban for 75 days. He's proposing a deal that would involve 50% ownership to protect jobs and keep TikTok operational. Team, what do you think of this? Can TikTok operations be secured in a way that satisfies national security concerns? Lester Munson, let's start with you.
Well, the law, as I understand it, would require the sale to an American or non-Chinese owner, where U.S. national security concerns presumably would be much less of a concern than they are under the current ByteDance arrangement. And there's a lot of folks who are complaining about what Trump is doing with this executive order, as if any of his predecessors didn't try to flaunt laws passed by Congress on issues like immigration and college loans and things like that. So what we're seeing here is the ongoing battle between the Article 1 branch and the Article 2 branch, Article 1 being Congress, Article 2 being the president, over who gets to decide what the U.S. government does. So Congress passes a law, whether it's on TikTok or immigration or college loans, and then the president, whoever it happens to be, decides he's going to use his maximum flexibility under that law to try and do things that he wants. And I think so. At the end of the day, this is almost a challenge to our structure of government, and seeing this play out reminds us of why the framers structured it the way they did. So there would be breaks on the behavior of both of Congress and of the president. And having them go kind of head to head here and battle this out is one of the things that is supposed to happen in our system. At the end of the day, to be honest, I kind of agree with Trump. I'm not super concerned about the national security implications of TikTok. It's a thing that kids watch for these inane videos, which I don't know how that's going to enable China to invade Taiwan. If someone can explain it to me, I am willing to listen. But I think the more interesting aspect here is the battle between Congress and the White House.
Just, do you agree with Les about the idea that TikTok is not that big of a concern on national security?
I'm just laughing because, of course, Les Munson, the Instagram fangirl, would not be concerned with TikTok at all. I
to be clear, Jones, I don't have TikTok on my phone.
Oh, okay.
But I'm also willing to consider that.
I think it's comical. Twitter is not a great, reliable source of information, but when the reversal, the Supreme Court upheld the legislation banning TikTok, and TikTok went kind of dark, right? And you had these influencers like losing their minds. And then you go on Twitter and you see these screenshots where like TikTok thanks President Trump for coming back. And I thought those were definitely doctored and totally fake. And there's no way that TikTok is thanking President Trump before he's even president for coming back online. And that's in fact what happened. And so I think, and then, less laughing matters, of course, seeing Tulsi Gabbard sitting next to the CEO of TikTok during the inauguration. So like if you ever want kind of a flip off to Congress and their role in deciding national security matters, I think that seating arrangement, which is very well planned out, was an interesting move. Actually, what I think is really interesting about this TikTok is, we're dealing with President Trump in the art of the deal. And so I think of this as like, what's the deal? Obviously, TikTok, the next 75 days are not going to be about what TikTok wants, right? TikTok shareholders, CEO, it doesn't matter. It's what the CCP wants. ByteDance is going to do what the CCP wants. So what does the CCP want? And of course, for the last 4 years, starting with the president, the first administration of President Trump, it did not want to divest to an American buyer. It has held steady for 4 years. Even if a sale, $100 billion, they've foregone it, legal entanglements. And so what happens in this deal? What brings them to the negotiating table? What do they get out of it? One, do they still have their same position and they're not going to sell? If they do, are they what does that say about their view on US-China relations, a second Trump administration? What do they think they're going to get out if they keep, friendly President Trump? Is it, more leverage when it comes to South China Sea with trade? We just saw a headline, of course, last night about 10% tariffs on China. And, what does it mean if China doesn't come to the table? Are they just setting themselves up for a more confrontational second administration with the Trump administration? And if they don't sell, what is, to Les's point, President Trump going to do? What is he going to do with the congressional Republicans? Is he just going to force them to retract the legislation? I think there's a lot of interesting things when we think about the art of the deal and who's coming to the table and what they're going to try to get out of this sale.
But also, what is this deal supposed to mean? What does this mean for Trump's approach to China, and has that shifted? Because he also he invited Xi to his inauguration, who sent his deputy, and then he expressed an interest in going to visit President Xi in China. And then meanwhile, Senator Cotton and I believe Ricketts, issued a joint statement, essentially saying this is the law, and these companies, if they, like Apple, for example, if they host the app on their devices, will be facing a wrath of lawsuits from AGs across the country, and others. So, Les, do you think this is a shift in China policy? Trump was the one who really was the China hawk. He's the one who actually finally, after years of us going to invest in China, what's going on?
Yes, it's a shift in China policy. It's always a shift in China policy. We're embracing them. We're shunning them. They're our biggest trading partner. They're our biggest national security concern. Of course, the thing bounces around all over the place. Trump wants to kind of grab all the reins here and work out some sort of magical deal. He didn't really do that in the first term. He tried to do that. It didn't happen. Will it happen this time? Maybe. He's a lame duck, right? He can't run for re-election. At some point, that's going to matter. The U.S. does have a very complicated relationship with China. And yes, it is our biggest concern. But yes, it is also critical to our economy. And one of the other things, there's a great Walter Russell Mead article in the Wall Street Journal yesterday about this new alliance inside the Republican Party between the populists and the tech bros. Mm-hmm. And this kind of goes right to the heart of it. There's 180 million people, or Americans, on TikTok, or some huge number, more than half of Americans are on TikTok. Why any politician would want to completely shun them is crazy. And neither Biden nor Trump have really, doubled down on the we're going to shut down TikTok thing for that exact reason. There was this old app called Vine, and then I think Vine 2, that was basically exactly like TikTok. And it does these little videos, and it's gone. For some reason, that app failed. Don't ask me why. I have no idea. Maybe their algorithm was wrong. But there's a great old video of some kid looking at a bunch of ducks saying, "Look at all those chickens," which is one of my all-time favorite videos because they're not chickens, they're ducks. And people should go back and look at that. That's kind of the debate we're having here. We don't know whether this is a chicken or a duck, but we're kind of amazed at what's happening. This is a weird football to be kind of leading the initial days of the second Trump administration, and I, for one, am entertained.
Well, certainly it is entertaining, and I think we will all be watching this closely. And it sounds like we might have a follow-on TikTok discussion at some point, because this is an ever-evolving topic.
75 days.
I, for one, am concerned actually about the algorithms that the ByteDance, which is run by the CCP, might be promoting to our kids. I think that there are parents across America who are elated that this could be banned. I think parents would love it if a lot of the social media would be banned, because it would make it easier to deal with their children, and they would probably get their children back. So I think it will be interesting to see also, what the reaction is to all of this, among parents across the country, because that actually, that actually matters. At the end of the day, we've seen how like parents' involvement in their children's lives has actually driven victories in elections, like in Virginia. That was in the case of the, education, nonetheless, I think, parents who are excited or feel like the rug was pulled out from under them. Anyway, that's a wrap. Thanks so much to Kelly Crowley, Claude Jennings, and NSI staff for their help producing today's episode. Join us on Friday, January, what day would that be?
24th.
24th.
For another episode of Fault Lines, the National Security Institute's podcast that gets you smart fast on the national security and foreign policy debates shaking up America. Fault Lines is also on YouTube, so check out our channel. And
not on TikTok.
Not on TikTok.
And not on
so
Vine.
check it. Yeah, not on Vine, sadly. We're on YouTube, so check us out there. And if you like what you saw, please rate and subscribe.